basically explain who you are, what your film was about, why you wanted to make this film, what it means to you, and just kind of the inspiration for your work. And if you saw my email, you know that the goal is to get everything up for our virtual festival tomorrow. So I was using Zerb. It's really an awful platform. So I have transitioned. Vimeo has a great hosting site for festivals, and I uploaded everything at the same time and it worked like right away. And you should have seen me trying to refresh and refresh and refresh with Zerb. I thought I was going to lose my mind. It's still here, I think, intact somewhere. So we will definitely be launching the virtual festival tomorrow. So as soon as that is solidified, I will send everyone an email with that information, so you'll be able to send it to other people. And of course, we'll have our own marketing blast that goes out, and you'll also get a copy of this today so that you can use it in any way that you'd like to promote yourself, your work, whatever you want to do, social media, anything you guys want to do. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. It's great. The plus side of doing this virtual is that more of you are here to talk about your work. And so that's very exciting, because usually it would be whoever was there in person at the festival. So it's really great that all of you guys get to be here. So I want to not take up any more time, because we've got an hour to do this, and I want to make sure that I hear from everyone, because there might even be more people jumping in. Yes, there are. I guess the best way to do this is if I go in a line and you get to talk, unless anyone wants to jump in. And for those of you that came in a little bit later, basically who you are, what you do, the inspiration for your work, and where we can keep up with you, where you're going next, where we can see your work. And then there'll be some more questions, and if anyone wants to jump in. The first person that I see is Ilana. So hi, welcome. Yep.
Hi.
Please tell us, for those who
can't
see what your film is and who you are.
Hello everyone. My name is Ilana Soul. My film is Samurai in the Oregon Sky, a documentary film. I work in documentary film. I work predominantly as an archival researcher here in Portland, Oregon, which is where I am right now. And yeah, I'm really excited that my film is in your festival. I'm excited that you have a category for featurettes, which is how I found your festival, which is awesome. And yeah, I don't want to take up too much time, so just thank you.
I'd love to know before we move on. I loved your film so much because it's such, how did you find the subject for your film? I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about the backstory there, because it was like, how did you find this one man, this person, and this information, and build upon his story to create this film?
Sure. So many years ago, I was visiting a local research library, the Oregon Historical Society here in Portland, when I saw that they had like there was a little index card in their card catalog, because they still have card catalogs.
Yes.
And on this card catalog, it said, Japanese attacks on Oregon during World War II. And this piqued my interest because I had no idea what this could possibly have been referring to. So I requested the file, and that's when I learned that in 1942, a Japanese pilot named Nobuo Fujita catapulted his airplane off of a submarine, flew over the southern Oregon coast, and dropped incendiary bombs on forests right outside Brookings, which is a small town in southern Oregon. This was really interesting to me, but what interested me even more was what I found out next, which was that 20 years after the attack, Mr. Fujita was actually invited back to Brookings and reconciled with the people there and formed a lifelong friendship with them. So it was this part of the story, the reconciliation, that's what really interested me and drove me to make a film on this story.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that, because that's something, when I received your submission, I said, the what? The where? I've never heard of this before either. And so it was very interesting to watch. So thank you so much for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for supporting it.
Absolutely. The next person I've got is Diana.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Diana. I'm a filmmaker for a called Hala for Caroline. And it's really about the mother and daughter strengthen their relationship over baking challah. So the inspiration of this really was in May. The food storage was like going down. We didn't have enough bread. So challah is my favorite bread. And so I asked my mom to help me film and Zoom, not Zoom, through a phone. And we use so many alternative equipment. Like we don't I don't even own an Arri camera or Red, so we just had to use what we have, like a selfie stick or duct tape to tape on our angles, good shot, especially with the fridge or through the cabinets. But yeah, I mean, it was just really about how do we cope through filming and the strengthen our relationship, especially when it comes to filmmaking, because I'm the only daughter in my family who knows filmmaking, and my parents, they just love movies. They don't know anything about the behind the scenes stuff and all. So that's really inspiration behind the making of the film.
And we spoke a little bit yesterday about how we use the resources around us when we're essentially in quarantine, we're in lockdown, we don't have access to a Red camera, for example. This way to kind of force us to be a little more creative than maybe we normally would be. And that's why I loved your film so much. And I wanted to ask, was it difficult to get your mom to agree to be in this and to do this with you, or was she totally game?
She was totally game, because she always complains every time that I created a film about my dad years ago, because he's a hairdresser at Astor Place, and my mom was like, oh, you should have made a film of me doing things, and I'm like, okay, Mom, do you want to be in this film? And she's totally down for it.
Nice. And now she has her chance, and now you can say, well, Mom, at least you were in a film festival. What about Dad? Now she's got a leg up over Dad. Now you're gonna have to make another one for your dad, and it's gonna go on and on and on forever. So
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Really, I had fun yesterday.
Thank you. The next person I have here is Margarita.
Sorry, I had to turn off my noisy heater. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Margarita Zhitnikova. My pronouns are they, them. I am one of the filmmakers of the film 2 Weeks, which I wrote, inspired by my life experiences, and I produced it and I acted in it. And what inspired me to make it, I guess, was when I first started realizing that I was asexual, just understanding how lonely and difficult that was, and then not wanting, a lot of the time I'm like, oh, should I share this about myself or not? Just about things in general. I'm like, oh, this could be seen as a weakness and whatever. But I felt like as an artist, and as a person that has support around them, to use my voice to make other people feel seen, and just to spread awareness of the subject. And yeah, I have a great team on it, and you can find out more about it at Besties Make Movies on all the social medias.
Yes. And did you find, because you just spoke a little bit about, is this something that I want to share? When you had the script and you approached other actors or you approached the team, was it something that you found to be difficult, or once you were in the process, you were like, wow, I'm so glad that I did this. This is my truth. And I'm so glad that I'm working on this process and getting this out.
Yeah, I was definitely very happy once I got rolling. I always knew that Stacey Malton, who produced and edited, was gonna be a part of it, because she's my production company partner and my best friend. And the director, I met her through a film collective called Film Shop. And we had had like a lot of talks leading up just about like sexuality and like life and whatever. And we were at a film festival at Oxford Film Festival together for a short film she made that I was in. And I was like, this just feels right. And so I asked her if she would do it. And because I knew she like shared similar feelings. She doesn't identify as asexual at all, but like there were parts of it that she was like, yeah, I relate to that. And then I also knew that she was really great at like the surreal things that I love. And then even while crowdfunding, people would message me and be like, hey, I'm not ready to talk about this or like tell anyone about this yet, but I'm asexual, and like seeing your film is happening is like giving me hope that someday I can be honest about who I am. So that has felt very, very rewarding.
Yeah, and what I teach film, I'm a film professor, and what I try to tell my students all the time when they're like, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to do, no, what if no one gets it, what if no one relates to this? And I'm like, trust me, there's going to be someone that relates exactly to what you're saying, and the best thing that you can do is to just share your own personal story, and someone will be like, ah, yes, I'm so glad I can see myself in that. And so I loved your film. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next person I have here is Susie.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock here in Melbourne, Australia.
Yes, I was going to ask you. You're here so early. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is gorgeous, and it's beautiful to see everyone. It's just lovely. I'm Susie Sparks. I was a primary school teacher for 55,000 years until I decided that there was not enough bubble wrap left in the world for someone like me to be a primary school teacher anymore, because I'm a bit too blunt and everyone's too fucking precious. Sorry, I swear like a trooper. Another reason I'm not a primary school teacher anymore. But I discovered acting about 5 years ago and just fell in love with it. And I've been doing acting and making films and theatre and stuff ever since. So having a bloody ball. Anyway, my film is called My Perfection. It's only 60 seconds long, and it's about women my age that have been through the divorces, climbed their way back into a modicum of independence, both emotionally and financially. And we get to this particular age, and lots of men cannot understand why we do not want to have a full-time relationship with anyone or with another woman. That we basically don't want a full-time partner. Lovely to have a bit of it, a little bit of a romance here and there. Very nice. Thank you very much. But don't want anything full-time. Actually don't want anything to jeopardize the independence that we've worked so friggin' hard to attain. And so that's all done in 60 seconds. I only make films on my phone because I don't have anything else, and that's regardless of lockdown. The film that I made, called My Perfection, I needed assistance with. Luckily, my 30-year-old daughter lives with me, and she sort of half begrudgingly helps me with the camera work and standing up on the kitchen bench and holding the jar of strawberries and tipping them in front of my face, just so I can get them at the right angle for the slow motion effect. So she had to get up and down from the bench like about 12 times and then pick up all the squashed strawberries from the floor each time to have another go at the take. I really love, as other people have been saying, putting your own voice in your films. And yeah, there aren't a lot of women that feel the same way as I do, but there are enough for me to think, well, our voice actually needs to be heard, because society just is so hooked on everyone being a couple. And how sad if you're not. What a lot of bullshit. Life can be pretty friggin' perfect if you're on your own. It doesn't mean that you're sad. And interestingly, the film was posted, unbeknownst to me, on a Turkish women's empowerment Instagram page.
Wow.
And in about 3 days, it got over 50,000 views. It was insane, absolutely insane. And I looked at all of the comments, and of course had to put them into Google Translate because they were all in Turkish. And heaps of them were really positive and complimentary and, you know, fantastic, thank you for saying this. But lots of them were very, very, very vicious, and I'm assuming that they were from Turkish men, saying that I didn't see any perfection at all. I just saw insolence. This woman needs to be taught her place in the home, all that sort of stuff. So I think me down in Melbourne, Australia, when we were in really hard lockdown is when I made it. We were feeling very insular, very, oh my God, it's just us against the world, which I'm sure all of you have felt at some stage in your situations as well. And it was actually a really incredible reminder to let me know that when you do make stuff and put it out there, that you actually have no idea who it's going to touch and in what way. So that was a really interesting surprise as well. It's only the 4th film I've made. My films are on my YouTube page, which is Susie Sparks. And my daughter and I write most of it together. So, yeah, it's been heaps of fun. And just wrapped that we got into the Midnight Film Festival. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, no, thank you for submitting. That is so amazing. Thousands and thousands of views. And it is so funny because you'll get all these wonderful, wonderful comments, and then there'll be a couple of people that'll say something not so nice, and you could let it deter you, or you can be on Zoom with all of us and talk about our amazing, incredible work that we're doing. So good for you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Who do I have next? I have Carney.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm in the UK.
What do you do?
I'm in Bristol, UK. I'm one half of directing duo Carney and Saul. I work with my partner and we make mixed media films. We call it casual fantasy. We have a lot of fantasy in them. You can see our work on a website, Sulky Bunny. Sulky Bunny. And the film that we submitted is called You and Me. It's sort of a dance lockdown film set to a really great song by Micah P. Hinson. If anyone knows his songs, he's a really talented songwriter, and we've made a music video for him before. And when lockdown started, we really felt like we needed to make something to express ourselves. We're a family with 2 kids, and it was a pretty extreme lockdown for like 3 months in the UK. And it was quite scary, and we didn't have any family around, and it felt very intense. And I think in You and Me, we just wanted to maybe, I had a group of dancers I was working with at the time, and I just reached out to them and said, do you want to work with me on something? And then I kind of directed them in little voice messages to send some footage in, and slowly we built this piece that we tried to sort of base on the topic of connection and the lack of it in lockdown. So how you would feel movement wise, talking about connection and the lack of it. And in the end, it sort of evolved to become this lots of little scenes of them in Zoom windows, which, you know, of course, then everyone was doing later down the line. But at that point, there was only like one other Zoom film right at the beginning of lockdown, especially dance related. So, but they've got this own choreography with themselves. In a way, we did a little time delay so that each dancer sort of is dancing with herself in a way, which is what was happening because all these dancers were in separate locations, different countries as well. So it was really nice to connect to other people in that time, and especially through movement. I think sometimes things feel like they're beyond words. And I think that's why film is such a great medium, but also dance can sometimes just be that extra thing. And I think through lockdown, lots of people connected to like nature, dance, food, hugs, you know, all the basic things that make us human and that we weren't really appreciating probably before. Not as filmmakers, of course. We always, you know, sensitive, creative people tend to always hook on those things. But I think it became a worldwide thing. And then a lot of people, when they saw You and Me, kind of you know, mentioned how they felt similar feelings. They couldn't quite say what it was, but that they felt something similar. And I think that was kind of rewarding and nice to do. And since then, we've made 2 other lockdown films, hopefully no more. But we'll see what happens in the world.
Yeah, I love it. I loved how you did that little delay and you said it's like they're dancing with themselves. And I thought that was so beautiful because I had done a little 48-hour quarantine film challenge at the start of quarantine with for the Midnight Film Festival, just as a kind of offshoot. And one of the people who signed up said, "Oh, I'm so glad that you did this because I'm completely isolated, alone student, and everyone went home and no one is here but me. And now I have something to do." And I just thought that was so interesting because you're dancing with yourself. You're living with yourself every single day. What does that look and feel like? And again, sometimes there are no words for that. So it was very beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. And I think the thing that's also interesting is that in a way, these dancers were saying, thanks for encouraging us to make something, because I think in a way you need that collaboration, you need that give and take, because it's quite hard to initiate something yourself, make it yourself, get it out there yourself. And you feel it's like you need that kind of connection to create something more deeply. And even though they were very much alone, I think it was something really kind of special and good for us and the dancers to just connect through that time and make something together. So it's kind of, you're the most alone you've ever been, but also in a way the most connected. Like you said, we might not have all been on the Q&A now. You know, there's something very connecting about it in a different sense.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat, aren't we?
Yes, we are. But I am so glad that, like you just said, that we can connect here and now. I can see all your faces. And before I wouldn't have had that. So I'm looking at the silver lining.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Of course, thank you. The next person I've got here is Vanessa Cruz.
Hello, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure. Great. My name is Vanessa Cruz, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm going to provide a brief image description. I'm a Mexican-American brown-skinned woman. I have long, dark hair. I'm wearing glasses, and I'm wearing purple lipstick and some eyeshadow. I am a physically disabled dancer, choreographer, artist, filmmaker, etc. I go to Cal State Long Beach, and I'm very excited to be amongst beautiful artists, filmmakers. It's really exciting to see everyone's input and everything. My dance film is titled Necesito Eternity. This film was created in December of 2019, before the whole pandemic happened. My primary inspiration for this film was to generate an outlet for myself as a disabled dancer. I don't necessarily get a lot of platforms to do a ballet piece or do any other kind of work. And so, like, in order to create change is to take action, and really wanted to dive into all the technique and training that I've been through and apply that choreographically and really allow something new and exciting to put forth in the dance world. The storyline for my dance film was taking a lot of aesthetics of ballet and really making it like a fantasy story between the relationship of the sun and the moon, and like what happens if the moon spirit decides to like try to join in with the sun, and like what are the repercussions of that. I know in the future I want to create a full-length ballet for this work, so hopefully that will happen. I'm really excited about that project. Yeah, and I just want to give a brief shout out to the people who are here to support me, Barbara, Damien, Joseph, and Rebecca Lemmy. Thank you so much for being here. Joseph and Damien are my musicians who did an amazing job with the score, and Rebecca helped mentor me with some of the choreography, and Barbara's my best friend. So sorry if I missed out anybody, but yeah.
I really loved the light contrast between the sun and the moon, the light and the darkness, and how they came together. And when we were watching your film yesterday, I just remember thinking, it's just so, like, when the darkness was coming down and the lights were flickering, I just remember thinking, there's still this light within this darkness, and it's still, while it's emotional, it's so beautiful. And there's just this little moment of, to me, it felt like this little moment of hope, there's still this little light in the darkness. And I just thought it was really wonderful to watch.
Thank you so much. There's also some other musicians here. Thank you for your work.
Thank you for being here. Okay, up next I have Andy.
Andy Compton? Me?
Yes, you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if there was
you were
another
like
Andy.
taking attendance, like, yes, I'm here.
Yeah, present. Hi.
Hi. What do you have to say? Who are you? What do you do? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm Andy Compton. I'm from St. Charles, Missouri, right outside St. Louis. And my film was called Tin Box. It's a film I made in the end of 2019, so it was pre-pandemic. And I made it at school, really just like with a few $100s to feed the crew, all student crew, and starring my best friend, Larry Claudin, who's a really talented actor in St. Louis, who's kind of coming up. But yeah, it's a film about basically a man who is homeless, and he's addicted to drugs. He sees an opportunity to break into a home, and he does. And as he's kind of looting around for goods, he discovers there's a person locked behind a door who is pleading with him to be let out. And so he kind of has this battle of, do I run and get away with the crime I've committed, or do I stay here and try to help this person? And yeah, there's just some twists and turns. It's kind of, I call it a thriller. A lot of people call it a horror, and you can call it whatever you want. I hope you like it.
Definitely do. And I think it's funny that we now call things pre-pandemic or during pandemic, and so at some point we'll say post-pandemic.
Yeah.
And sometimes I watch stuff, I don't know if anyone else has this, and you see everyone really close without a mask on, you're like, oh, what are they doing? Well, something scandalous is happening.
Yeah.
I just thought when you said pre-pandemic, it made me think of all the scandalous things we used to do. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Like talk to each other. Yeah, that
Talk
was
to
insane.
each other, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew? You
For
couldn't
sure.
cough like that in public now?
No. I would expect to be promptly just punched in the face, and it would be okay.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Barbara, I don't know if you want to say anything or if you're just here enjoying the show. I can't hear you. You're muted.
You're muted.
That's all right. Well, thank you. Zach, you're up. It's all right, Barbara. It's very animated.
On mute, but yes, just here to support my best friend Vanessa here, and just films sound so beautiful and interesting. Now I have to make sure I watch them all.
Absolutely, and you will. I talked about the virtual fest at the very beginning, but now lots and lots of people here, so I'll do that again at the end. Thank you.
And I meant to say my talented, beautiful friend Vanessa. She's amazing. So there you go. That's it. I'll unmute.
Thank you. All right, Zach, you're up.
All right, my name is Zach Crone. I was the director and cinematographer for the short thriller Horror Matched. Just kind of wanted to give myself a little bit different of a challenge. As a cinematographer and a full-time lighting technician on TV shows, I'm always lighting shows and setting lights and moving lights, and it's it's harder on a production where you don't have as many people. So for Matched, we lit the entire show with a match. The actress is striking matches to give light, and that's all we used. We didn't use any gags. We didn't use any little handheld tricks or anything. Just the match, aside from the moonlight outside the window and things like that. So it was a whole different creative challenge to film, but it seems to be pretty well received. It was a lot of fun shooting. No, we didn't burn the house down. Didn't really burn the actress's fingers.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, no, she was acting all the times when you think maybe she burned her fingers. She told me later that no. But yeah, so that's that. It'll be streaming coming up on Monday.
Yes, it will.
It's still bouncing around. You can follow it bytheglasspictures.com. All the links and everything is there. And that's probably about it, but I'm going to also throw in there that I was also the cinematographer for Don't Jump, which is also streaming in this festival. And I even have a cameo in that one too. So
yes, you do.
good times.
I remember when I watched your film for the first time, I was like, because I like to watch them before I read the descriptions, and I go back in and then I watch them again because I like to just get the first impressions. And I was like, wait, does he actually mean there's no lighting involved? And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And I don't want to give too much away because I want you all to watch it, but I really, it was thrilling and scary, wondering what was lurking in the darkness. And it's the twist at the end is a lot of fun. So thank you for that.
No problem. And it's only 3 minutes, so it should be pretty easy to squeeze into the schedule.
No excuses. Thanks, Zach.
No problem. Thanks, Freya.
Next up, I have Jalissa.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm a producer and composer. I live here in New York. My film was Tell Me a Story. It was about a postmodern world with, the robot race. It's an age-old story at this point. It was inspired by my director, and he really wanted to talk about, the ethics and, everything that's, really embodied in robot films now, but he wanted to replace the man versus machine with a child. So, just having that perspective, it was really interesting, and I wanted to hop on it, and it was so much fun to make. I really, it's a testament to my crew because they were all just so incredible, and yeah, I'm excited for it to premiere this week.
Where did you guys film? Because I was like, this kind of looks like the city, but it's abandoned.
Right, so my director found this spot. We were playing around with so many locations here in Queens, but we ended up going to Brooklyn, to Floyd Bennett National Park. Okay. And it's an abandoned lot. There is still, there are a few buildings that are active because it is still an active park. There are, people fly planes. That was our biggest issue with sound. There's like so many people flying planes around there, but yeah, it's a really beautiful spot, and I recommend it if anyone is in New York and wants to check it out.
I was about to say locations, everyone. Write your locations. Thank you. Who do I have? Loring, you're up next.
Hey, first of all, thank you for putting this all together and having us all here. Not easy during these times, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here. Yeah, I'm the writer-director, and I also have a part in the short comedy Don't Jump, as Zach mentioned. It's a light comedy. It's actually the third in the series that I plan on extending. It's based around the central couple is Todd, played by myself, and Patricia, played by Laura Peterson. It's kind of based around the relationship, but we're expanding, with each one, we're expanding the universe a bit. So we've incorporated some more friends. We incorporated, I would like to say it's a little bit more than a cameo by Zach. So we're kind of expanding the universe, having fun with the characters, and I don't know, trying to bring a laugh during this crazy lockdown and heaviness that we've all kind of had to mug through on 2020.
Yeah, and I have to know, did you jump first and the idea came later, or did you commit and you jumped out of that plane?
Well, here's what the story behind it was. That was actually the this was not ever supposed to be a film. I had another thing all set that was going to be the third film. And I should say, you don't need to see any of the previous films to enjoy this. They're all independent of each other. I was going to take Laura skydiving for her birthday. And then, as I was sort of walking around, that's what sort of sparked the whole thing. So we were already going.
Yeah.
And then I said, man, it would be a waste not to use this in some way, shape, or form. So that's what started the idea to make it kind of a film. And the idea of sort of forcing someone to go skydiving against their will, it just sort of struck me as funny. So, and any chance I get to work with this cast, I'll take it any day of the week. They're all friends by this point, and very close friends at that. So it's a hoot.
I have to tell you that when I saw the footage of you guys jumping out of the plane, I laughed and laughed and laughed. And I was like, yeah, that's commitment. That's commitment right there. So thank you for giving me that.
Well, thank you for having it. How about that?
Absolutely. Well, you've one-upped me then. Let's see. Eben, you are next.
I don't know, I have nothing prepared. I feel like a hack. I can't wait to see all these movies. What is the question?
So the question is, so I'll give I'll give you a little lead. So what I thought was so great is that you took, like many people did, you took lockdown, but you did it in a very, very socially distanced way. No one was together. Sometimes you were all on, according to Kirby, you were all on Zoom at the same time. Sometimes you weren't. Sometimes you were shipping costumes to one another or meeting and getting. Yeah. So I'd love to know, I mean, that's a dedication. You know, the story of your film for those who haven't seen it, a little backstory, a little inspiration, and what that process was like of transferring things to your other actors.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm not a filmmaker, but I'm obsessed with film and classic film and pop culture. And this started from, I acted a long time ago, and I was trying to get back into this, and did a lot of theater. And I had basically a bar that was like, do your show here, do your show here. So I was trying to write stuff for drunk people, you know? So, and, you know, no one wants to, you want to drink. They're like, shut up, you know, and yell at stuff. So I was I had a great team of people that I wanted to work with. And so I was thinking, what's fun, what's recognizable? So I was thinking very pop culture. And I was first kind of inspired by like Carol Burnett skits. Basically what I'm doing is Rosemary's Baby. Well, allegedly Rosemary's Baby. So I'd written a bunch of stuff, and then the pandemic hit, and then I did someone's Instagram play, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I did this play, and there were so many hiccups, and I was like, what? I can do this. Like no one had it together. And then my friend said, let's do a reading of Basil Time's Baby is what I shamelessly called it. And then it just started rolling. And we're like, oh, our footage is interesting. We can make this more cinematic. And I think Colleen is here.
Yes, I was about to say, Colleen, if you want to jump in at any point, please feel free.
Who's able to take these, basically these film boxes and put it together cinematically while also making it theatrical, and how to adapt to the camera, but also make it a stage. So we can be social distance, but almost like Sesame Street 4 boxes, and how to talk to one thing, how to, put your hand, do all that, which was a lot of fun. And also, I think with my writing, or what I like to do, I like to go very, very broad and jokey at first, and then start stripping away that and get what's under it. So I thought, not that I'm trying to be didactic or have an answer, but through the process, it was very interesting to see certain things that this I don't want to say satire or skit was doing, but what was getting under the material of what it's like to be in a box, what it's like to be in a pandemic, or what it's like to, I don't know what it is, but I found it fascinating. And I'm a very bad speaker, sorry.
No, you're not at all. I loved it, and I loved all of the prop creations, and I loved your use of the sheets. And and again, yes, I loved all that stuff, and I thought it was just so great, so entertaining, and really ingenious with the whole 4-box, and how do you create something right now that everybody can enjoy and get out there into the world. And so I really appreciated that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I also liked making people being not cast in their type, because it sort of gave people a freedom and to not be self-conscious, and you kind of really went for it. And Colleen also sped up the audio a little bit, and somehow with all of the cartoon element, it became more alive to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it kind of felt like, I don't know how, it's like outside of itself, but inside, I don't know how to, I can't think of the exact right word to describe it, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out together.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Colleen, I don't know if you're actually physically driving, so if that's the case, please don't.
No, I'm not driving.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm not driving, and I'm sorry to be calling from a car at all.
No, not at all.
Where I am right now. Yeah, so I was part of that film, Basil Time's Baby. My name is Colleen White, and I was the editor on it, and one of the actors. So it was really...
Oh. Uh-oh. Are we losing you? We might be.
Cool thing for all of us while the world was sorry.
No, that's okay. You're back now.
Okay. Yeah, so it was, a way for us actors and creative people to escape and work on something. It really started out as a read-through for fun, and then it just kind of turned into a film. And as an editor, it was very cool to just have this totally new platform of editing on Zoom. Like, we recorded our Zooms and edited it, and then we got separate. It was just very outside the box for us. And Eben's such a brilliant writer. It's so clever. There's so many comments within about what we were going through in the world, but also that film and classic film. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but thank you so much for including us.
No, absolutely.
So happy to be a part of this.
I was going to ask you about the editing. That must have been, if that was your very first Zoom edit.
Yeah.
Putting all that together. Yeah.
For sure. So it was it kind of took on a life of its own. Even with the speeding it up, it was almost like, how sometimes on Zoom it just feels slow because it's Zoom and there's a delay. So I was really it started out with just speeding up a delay at one point. And then I was like, what if I sped up the whole thing by 20%? What would that do? And it really changed it. So it was very much just like, let's see what happens. We're just letting this become its own thing. I don't even know what we're doing. So it was really, really cool to have that during the pandemic to work on.
And sometimes that's where you find the best stuff. You just, what are we doing? Let's find out. Let's see where we go.
Yeah, very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Noreen.
Hi. 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 I'm an actress, writer, and producer, and my film, The Test, is in collaboration with William Hugh, who unfortunately couldn't make it today because something urgent came up. But he and I were talking about creating a project because we don't see a lot of authentic Asian representation in film and on screen. And even though there's been a lot of progress in having more Asian actors and more Asian characters on screen, some of it is like stereotypical. And then with our own experiences as performers, we've definitely felt like you know, we've had people who had like this certain expectation or an image that we had to fit in, and it didn't feel very authentic to us. And so we decided to create our own story, and the type of stories that we want to see, and that we relate to, and that just feels more authentic to who we are. And so the inspiration started from that. And this is something that William can talk more about, but he and I were having this discussion about how it's sometimes very common, not just in Asian cultures, but, you know, in a variety of cultures, you know, this idea of the pressure of meeting family obligations, and sometimes having to stay with your family for a long time and not have your own independence and start your own life on your own without your family being involved. And so his character is definitely much in that place, and he has that pressure of wanting to be faithful to what his parents want for him, and then having his own dreams, and then having pressure from his girlfriend because she has her own idea of what their future looks like. And so he's sort of caught in between all of that with, you know, all these family pressures and life pressures. And my character, Shelley, she is starting to realize like what she was dealing with in this relationship. And I don't think she's comfortable with how involved his parents are. And she doesn't want to offend them, but she's also wants to be assertive at the same time. And so she's kind of walking that fine line and struggling with that. And so it's really about how a relationship can be impacted by not just life things outside, but how family can be involved and other pressures can be involved. And that's sort of the theme of the story. And we called it a test because there was a pregnancy test, and it was a false alarm, but it was also a test in their relationship. For the first time, I think they realized how different they are, and how differently they see their future. So that's sort of the underlying theme of the story.
Yeah, I remember watching and seeing how his parents are basically making the decision for your relationship, and I was like, ooh. And it's interesting because there's so many people that are like, oh yeah, yep, I know that feeling, I know that situation, I've been there before, or I know someone who's been there. And so it is really great when actors, when writers, when filmmakers just make what they connect to and what they feel, and a story that they want to tell, and how many other people can be like, oh yeah. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Celine, am I saying that right?
Hi, yes.
Great.
How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good. Sorry, let me just fix my view here. I'm not very... What?
I am not very Zoom savvy myself.
Okay. Well, hi everybody, and Freya, thank you so much for having me. I wish I could have made it to the in-person screening.
That's okay.
So, hi.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your film for those who haven't seen it, and any inspiration behind it, and where can we see more of what you're doing?
Yeah, so my short film is called True Romance without the E. The reason I did it that way is because we're living in a world where things are kind of half-assed sometimes, including romance, and that's kind of what it's about. And I'm a woman. I believe myself to be a feminist. However, I think that the very important Me Too movement has also brought some lack of romance back into our lives, in the sense that people are scared to make a move, scared to kind of follow their instincts, or maybe read someone's physicality and things like that. So basically, True Romance is a series of dates where my friend basically plays me. Angie was supposed to be here today. She couldn't, but she goes on 3 dates, and all of them are bad for certain reasons. And yeah, it's just about me and my ridiculous dating life just exacerbated, and also what we're all going through in this world of modern dating.
I can tell you that when we watched it 2 days ago, there was someone in the audience, and every time a twist happened for each individual, they went, "Oh."
Yes, that's what I want. It actually happened to me. Like, if you can imagine it, like how that would be in reality. Like, obviously, like I kicked it up a notch for each one, but the day after I went on these 2 dates, I just woke up and I was like, I have to write about this because someone else must feel the same way. And I'm like, am I a bad feminist? I'm questioning my own morals and, you know, what is romance, and, you know, what is okay, what isn't okay.
Yeah, and I can tell you that there's one, and I hope everyone will go and watch it, when he writes the letter and the man in the audience went, "Ugh, bro." So
Bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, so it was definitely something that other people related to. So if you've ever been on a date ever, you should watch True Romance when it comes out. You'll really enjoy yourself.
Please watch it.
And I love also that the use of technology, you know, we have all these different kinds of dating apps, and again, this half-ass, you know, dropping the E, or the way that we meet each other, the way that we date, the way we do anything nowadays. So it's a great social commentary.
Thank you so much. And I just want to make a quick note, that was shot in my backyard.
I was going to ask, it looks like an outside restaurant.
Yeah, no, in one night. My DP is a total genius. His name is Jeffrey Duncanson, and he had this whole lighting situation set up. We made my backyard look like, you know, almost like a real little cafe. And we did an overnight shoot where no one slept, with no money, no money.
Sometimes that's the best way.
Who played the waitress?
Her name is Angela Belcamino. I can actually, you know, do a little typing. You should definitely follow her. She's really, you know, vocal about, you know, politics and feminism, and I just thought she would be the perfect person for it. And she's a wonderful person to work with.
That was a very good short.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And yeah, if anyone wants to, in the chat, if they want to put their website, their social media links, any of that stuff, so that everyone can see it. I have to find, I know that once I close this, it'll probably disappear. So if you feel like doing that, people can follow each other.
There should also be a way to save the chat.
Okay, I think that because I'm recording, doesn't it save?
The chat doesn't, but there's 3 dots on the right, on the bottom. So it's like 2, and then you select everyone, and then there's file, and then there's 3 dots. And if you hit save chat, it'll save to your computer, and you can reference it later.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Save chat. Boom. Wonderful.
Yeah. So just do that at the very end.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, I have On. And please, anyone correct me if I say your name wrong. My name is Freya, so I'm used to having to correct people. So I want to make sure I say other people's names right too. Hi.
Well, you nailed it. So yes, my name is On, is as in turn on the light. It's a bad pun, but you know, it works. So I apologize for being a bit late, but I enjoyed listening to everyone's stories here about their films, and I'm really excited to see everyone's projects come like on the screen, you know, in our own silver screen, I guess. I'm based here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm a film student attending San Jose State University. My purpose in film is to tell stories that heal the wounds of society, and therefore, with my short film, Flowers Under the Moonlight, it was made for an assignment for my film class. And this was my first time writing a screenplay that was in Vietnamese. I wanted to take a deep into my language because I was born a bit resentful towards the language because I thought that it would not be needed in the States. But later on, as I go into the quarantine stages, I'm with my parents now, and I wouldn't be here without them. So they had pushed me to learn Vietnamese at a younger age, and I'm able to converse them very well. With that being said, I wrote this poetry, and this poetry wouldn't be this good without the assistance from my friend Allison. She's the person who narrated this Vietnamese poetry. And during that time, I had recently watched this documentary experimental film called La Cité by Chris Marker. I was inspired by the way that he utilized photography in order to do an essay collage talking about this man in this essence of time travel from the future and also the past touching to the World War. So I want to create a poetry where not only does it share about the beauty of the language, but also I've seen a lot of my colleagues who don't have parents, and they sometimes have a little bit of resentment towards the parents who had left them alone or didn't do anything to help them along the way. But for me, I think that every path things may not turn out as the way that we want to be, but we just have to keep on moving on.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful to watch, literally using imagery from one moment to the next to the next. It's like you got to take in each little moment, and I really loved that.
Thank you.
Yeah, where can we see you next? Are you putting this film through the circuit? Are you working on something new?
I'm putting my film on like a couple film festival circuits under either the student film or experimental short category. But this film has pushed me to pursuing a feature film working on called Flaws of an Everlasting Memory. So it follows a lonely, uptight lexicographer who struggles to find his love in Saigon while grappling with the untimely death of his first love.
Wow.
It's also written in Vietnamese. It's probably the first full-length screenplay that I've ever written in Vietnamese, and has gone to the film festival circuit under the screenplay category. While we have won some awards, my team and I, we've been working with our actors, and hopefully once the pandemic goes down, we can bring this film to life to discuss about the beauty of the Vietnamese language and also the effects of PTSD.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And your film is Flowers Under the Moonlight for anyone when they go on and they see and they want to watch and see everything we have. So thank you so much. I think up next is Joshua.
Hi, everybody. Shout out to Vanessa. I'm also out here in Long Beach, California. Yeah, so my film is The Eighth Commandment. Thank you for having us at the Midnight Film Festival. Very excited. Wish we could be there in person, but I'm excited to see all these, all the films of you guys here on the chat. Shout out to my mom and executive producer who's joining the chat. You're also selling her on a lot of your films. She's excited to check them out as well. Yeah, it's a pre-pandy film. So that's, there's definitely a whole lot of innocence at play there in the sense that nobody knows what's coming. Yeah, it's about a couple bumbling crooks who attempt to rob a Catholic church and take a priest hostage, and nothing goes as planned. So yeah, I guess that's my piece on it. I don't know, is there anything?
I have to ask about the pimple. I've got to ask, was that always in? Were you looking for something to kind of add an element to the script? For those who will watch it, there is a very large pimple involved in this film. It plays a very crucial role. How did the idea for that come about? Because that was genius.
That I don't remember the exact inspiration, but it was a late stage addition. It was kind of, it was, as we all know, in short filmmaking, it's very difficult to get something like an internal struggle to come outward in 10 minutes or 3 minutes or 60 seconds or however long your film happens to be. And I wanted this this feeling of contempt for her other, for her the man she's in a relationship with, to be visualized some way, and somehow a large boil just pulsating on his cheek just ended up in the script. And it kind of was, that was one of the first moments that took it from like, oh, this is like a fun thing I'm writing, and like, you know, maybe I'll be able to like shoot it on with a couple $100 and some friends and, you know, and whatever in a weekend, and kind of took it to like, oh, I think this could be something that I would like to see that could play on a big screen, and that I wanted to actually put some money behind and be able to do it in a way that was a little more cinematic than what I usually have when I'm making projects.
Well, it was definitely appreciated, and I hope that everyone goes and watches The Eighth Commandment, and you'll see the pimple right away, and you'll see later in the film the crucial role that this pimple plays. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Let's see, I think I have Lena next.
Hi everyone, my name's Lena. I'm so excited to see everyone's film and their work. Like everyone, your descriptions like just making me so excited to see it. But so my dance film. So I made a dance film. It was my first time making it online. So and it's called Trapped, and it was actually a part of my. I had to do a presentation at Hunter. So I went to Hunter College, and it was my final semester there. And I had to make, before pandemic happened, I had to make a piece for my assignment, but then everything went online, and unfortunately we had to wait like a long time to figure out what was going to happen. And we had a month to do this piece, and it was optional. And I was super nervous because I never did a dance film. I never edited, and I had to do everything on my own. So it took a while to figure out what I wanted to do, but then Trapped happened just because I was trapped in my house. And I had my brother and sister help me film it. I was the one that edited, and they helped me also with the lighting. So I didn't really put a description because the piece that I make, any piece that I make, I like to have the audience have their own interpretation of it. But my inspiration behind it, like I said before, I was trapped in my apartment, and this happened around in April. That's when I filmed it. And I was just stuck in my mentality of like, nothing's going to happen. I'm literally trapped in here with my thoughts and my emotions. And sometimes you just create this fantasy of like, what can I do next? And then I just like, if you guys see it, I don't want to give too much away, but you're gonna have glimpse of certain sceneries. And then and ultimately it just resulted in me just like trying to escape that mentality of being trapped.
That was well made.
Thank you so much.
Who sang the song?
I found the songs that I found were in YouTube archives. So I don't have the specific names for it, but I can put it down if in the chat. I can send you the names for it. But yeah, I just worked with a lot of sounds just because I felt like it went with the emotion I was feeling.
I liked it when everybody was trapped in their own box and you were trying to get out.
Ed, there were two.
Yeah, there was two
films.
traps. Yeah.
That was the.
Never mind.
That was I think that was the second one. This one had all the different colors, and it was one person.
Yeah, this is the solo one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No worries.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. Where can we see more of your work? What are you doing next?
So as of now, I fell in love with film work, so I'm gonna continue doing that. I'm gonna start posting on my YouTube and my Instagram as well. So I'll put that down. So yeah, so thank you so much for having me here too.
Absolutely, thank you. I had seen Andrew, but I don't see him anymore.
I'm here. Hello.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I was like, wait, you are up.
Hi, yeah, my name is Andrew. I directed and kind of made And I Feel Fine, which was my capstone project. I'm a recent graduate of Ithaca College, and I'm now an assistant editor at Vice News.
Nice.
But that film was really important to me because it mainly stemmed from my fear of climate change. It's kind of like this apocalyptic vignette, kind of hybrid documentary found footage kind of film. I knew I wanted to do something that kind of deviated from more of a narrative aesthetic, but it's still a fictitious story because like throughout my film school experience, I found that I was really more interested in documentary film and the creative freedom that you can find within like creative nonfiction work as opposed to just staying strictly with like conventional narrative work. So a lot of the film is really like a culmination of everything I kind of learned in film school and a lot of fears surrounding climate change from coming from South Florida.
Yeah, for sure. And where can we see more of your work? Is this film going to be going on the circuit? What's going on?
This film, where is it available right now? Right now, it's still going through the festival circuit. And obviously, you can see it at this festival if you would like to watch it. I am currently working on an upcoming show with Vice that'll be premiering with their second season of Showtime, which is really exciting. It's called The Source, and that's a really incredible documentary news show that's being worked on. And I highly recommend checking that out, whether online or on TV if you can.
Nice. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all. Thank you all for screening and being here and some wonderful films. It sound like it's amazing.
Absolutely. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anyone because this is the only screen that I see, but I see more people. So if I'm missing someone who wants to say something or ask a question or come on, please do so. That means I think we're good. I hope so. Okay, so as oh wow, it's 3:07. I'm pretty good there. So for those who came on a little bit later, I have finally fixed the virtual fest issue. I had been using Zerb and they are absolutely impossible. So I've transferred everything over. There's going to be a Vimeo link that comes out. It's uploading smoothly and perfectly as we speak. It's completely password protected. So as soon as I get that link, I will send it out to everyone. So you can expect that to be sent out either later this evening or first thing in the morning. And then you can send it to your friends, send it to whoever you want, have a little party, and that'll be up for a week. So you'll get an email with all of that information, and also tomorrow notifications for award winners will go out as well. So keep your eyes on your emails. And I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for submitting to the festival and for giving us grace and patience as we figure out the virtual festival situation and this kind of pandemic. We're not at post yet. We're in the middle of this pandemic situation, and just allowing us to explore that with you and to showcase your work. We physically could not do that. Is it free for people to watch? There is a $5 ticket price, but I'm gonna have a link for Filmmakers, and obviously if you share that with your friends and family, that's perfectly fine. So don't worry about that. You can gather as many people around the one free link as you would like to gather. That's perfectly fine. The point is that people see your work and they see what's going on, and that's really our main focus here. So thank you so much, and thank you for submitting. We physically could not have a festival without you, so thank you.
You did a great job.
Guys, thank you. And Ed takes all our photos. Ed is fantastic. Anyone who was there, your photos will be up sometime this week and we'll get them out to everyone. Thank you.
Tell them about your summer film festival.
Perfect. And if you can follow us on Instagram at Midnight Films NY. We have a Facebook page as well. I'm also involved in the Body Positive Film Festival and the Divine Feminine Arts and Film Festival. So if you're looking for other things to be involved with, you can look up those and see what that's all about. And our submissions are open for Midnight Films for next year. So if you know anyone who might like to submit, you should send them my way. So that's all, folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Stay
very
safe.
much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye so
Bye.
much. Bye.